Good morning. Whew. Early on this morning, Lara's in the office, which means it was a 4 o'clock start. Whew. So we're just on the way back now. It's about 5:45, I think. Get home, maybe chuck some food down my neck, otherwise it would just be a quick shower before I have to get Louis up. Let me just throw those in there, throw that over there. Yeah, just depend on how we're doing for time, because it's always a bit manic. Always a bit manic on these days. Oh, is that going to find me again? Yeah, Lara's also been in the office 2 days on the trot this week. Oh, yesterday and today, which she doesn't often do, which just adds a little bit to the pressure. Ooh, but there we go. Yesterday was a rest day for me, so that wasn't quite so bad. It meant that I was up with her about 5:30. And today, yeah, as I say, 4 o'clock start. Get to the gym, get that done, get home, get Louis up, get his milk sorted, get him changed, drop Lara at the station, come home, get him fed, drop him at the childminders, and then, and only then, can the day begin. So yeah, it's always pretty full on, but that is life with kids, that is life as working parents, and that is just part of how things are. So here we go. But yeah, one of those things that just happens. You know, what is this guy doing? Anyway, that was a pretty decent, what did I just train? Push. Pretty decent push session. Bit of progress made, actually. I think I probably say it most weeks when it comes to push. It's one that I don't find I make massive amounts of progress on. So when the progress does happen, it is always quite nice. Yeah, so decent bit of progress on the presses. Let me try and get a bit of quiet in this car, because otherwise you're not going to hear a word I'm saying. Right, here we go. Yeah, decent bit of progress on the presses, which, as I say, is not always the case for me. I would say that push, chest in particular, probably one of those muscle groups that I've found hardest to make progress on. And I've done lots of different things when it comes to chest and growing a chest, and I think I've found a little bit of a balance with it. I still want more in there. One of the biggest things that I had to do was just strip the movements all the way back and actually start to use my chest. I think it's one of the very, very first things I will look at with a client. Like, a client comes to me, they've been training for a good few years, and they just say that their chest is something that they just cannot make any progress with, almost no matter what they try. One of the very, very first things that I want to see them train. You know, I want to see them perform the movements. I want to be able to analyze and assess exactly what it is that's happening. Because what very, very commonly will happen is you'll just see that when they're doing their chest work, their chest isn't the main muscle that's working. You know, there's a lot of shoulder coming in. There's just a lot of stuff they're doing that means that their chest just isn't taking the brunt of the work. And so it's no surprise that they're not feeling their chest work, just simply because they're not actually using it. So what we'll then look to do, you know, just as I've done myself in the past, and as I say, is strip those movements back, making sure that we're focused on form, we're focused on technique, we're focused on control and connection. You know, and connection's one of those things at the moment that gets, I think there's a little bit of it's almost like you've got one side of the sort of lifting world that's everything's about the connection. You know, you have to feel the muscle working. If you're not feeling that muscle working, then it isn't working. You got another camp that's a bit more like, well, as long as you're moving as you should be moving, then of course you're using that muscle, right? Like, you don't necessarily have to feel every fiber to know that you're using a muscle if your body is moving in a certain way. I probably look more into the grey. I don't think these things are always as black and white as people would like them to be. I am very big on the quality of connection. I am very big on making sure that you are feeling that muscle work and particularly understanding how it should feel when it works. So one of the things that I would often get clients to do, and it can sound a little bit strange and it can look a little bit strange to begin with, but it's almost just spending some time like posing, flexing, contracting muscles. If you're struggling to work your chest and you're struggling to feel your chest contract when you train, spend a bit of time like literally just sat at home, if you're at your desk or wherever you happen to be, like just spend some time actually understanding what it feels like to contract those muscles. Move your arm through a path of motion and feel that pec contract. Put the non-working hand on it, feel how it feels when you move your arm in different directions, because what you'll very, very quickly find is that you move your arm in different paths of motion, and a press is a good example of that. For most people, if their arm is like, if their elbow's too high, if they're pressing from too sort of high and wide a point, you're probably going to feel it more in your shoulder than you are in your chest. Equally, if you're a little bit too narrow and a little bit too low, there's probably going to be a bit more tricep than there is chest. And so finding that happy middle ground that works for you, that enables you to very much feel your chest contract, that's what you need to do. That's the thing that you then need to like just strengthen the quality of that connection, so that when you then next go into the gym, you understand how it feels to contract it. You know exactly what you need to do when it comes to transferring that sensation into the movement, the machine, the dumbbells, the cables, the barbell, whatever your chosen chest press of choice is. You know exactly what it feels like to contract your chest. And so that's a massive, massive thing that I think a lot of people probably don't do. There's a huge amount of power in the neurological connections. So the more times you contract that muscle, the more times that you perform that path of motion, the more practice essentially your body and your mind are getting at performing that motion, understanding what it feels like. That's only going to improve things. It can't possibly make things any worse. So if you are struggling to feel a muscle, if you are struggling to contract a muscle, if you are struggling to grow a particular area, spend some time actually understanding what those things feel like to contract, and you can do that with any muscle. You can do that with literally any muscle group. Just spend some time contracting those muscles, feeling what it feels like to actually have them working. Because what you'll then be able to do, absolutely take that into the gym with you, and you'll probably find that your movements are going to completely transform. That will mean that the body part is going to get the right work. You'll probably find that you get those DOM sensations happening a little bit more so, certainly initially, and that can only be a good thing. So take that on board. I am almost home. Let's see what's going on. It's a little bit later than I would ideally have liked, which means I'm probably just going to have time to jump in the shower, and then I'll have to eat my breakfast once we've got back from dropping Lara at the station. There we have the early leg session. Oh shit, what have I done? Nearly left the old squat shoes there. What an absolute disaster that would have been. I left my belt there not long ago. I don't know if anyone remembers that. Yeah, very nearly left the squat shoes. That is the trouble when you take as much shite to the gym as I do. But all of it's needed, all of it gets used. So yeah, I don't always have much choice. But anyway, that is the early leg session done. Let's get all that shite in there. Just pop this over here in the bin. These bins are absolutely disgraceful. I don't even know who they belong to. Whew. Early session, very, very quiet in there today, but I think it's probably because France played late last night. I think France kicked off at 11, so that won't have finished, even though France won in 90 minutes, that won't have finished till about 1 o'clock in the morning. So I suspect a lot of people that would usually be in there, not that there's, I say a lot of people, it's not that there's that many people that would have been in there early on a Sunday morning anyway, but the people that would ordinarily have been in there early on a Sunday were not in there, because I suspect they were watching the football last night, were late to bed, and yeah, didn't want to then get up at the usual 5-6 o'clock in the morning. And it's probably going to be a similar situation, probably not here, but back in the UK tomorrow, because the England game kicks off at 1 o'clock in the morning UK time. It's 2 o'clock in the morning here. Absolutely no chance that I'm watching it, because I'll be up at about 4, half 4 to go to the gym. So the only way that I might see any of it at all is if if it ends up going to extra time. I might be waking up just as extra time's kicking off. So I might end up being able to watch a little bit of it while I'm training tomorrow morning. Not that I'm wanting it to go to extra time, because I would far rather England just put in a fantastic performance and won it in 90 minutes very, very convincingly. I'm not convinced that is going to happen. But you never know. They might surprise us. But yeah, I know there was talk of that England game getting moved forwards. I think there was talk of it being brought forward like 6 hours or something due to storms or whatever it was might have been that was going on. I think the possible danger is that actually it gets postponed even more. I know that happened in the Club World Cup that happened in America last summer, which I think everyone was saying was going to be a little bit of like a warm-up style thing for what was happening now. And there were a lot of games, I seem to recall, I want to say one of the Chelsea games ended up getting, I don't know if they started the match and then there was something like a 2-hour break in the middle of it for a storm. I mean, it's just no way to be. You can't operate like that. So I don't know quite what's going to happen with that, because I think there have been talks of there being storms in Mexico. But anyway, we'll see what's happening. But that is the leg session done. Nice early one. Really, really, really good session, actually. Progress on basically every single movement. I'm actually right behind a British car. They don't see all that many British cars where we live, but yeah, I'm right behind one. Anyway, really good leg session. Yeah, progress on pretty much everything, which is always a nice little something to see. So on my way home, grab a bit of breakfast, and then I think Lara is wanting to go back to the gym. So what I'll probably do is just train with her a little bit. I won't do anything like I've done my like proper session. I just like to be in there early. I'm very antisocial at the moment when it comes to my training, so I like to go in there early when no one else is there. But yeah, I'm happy to go back with her. Her mum's going to come and watch Louis, and then we'll go to the gym for a bit. I can get some steps in and yeah, just generally sort of do a bit of training with her, and that'd be quite a nice little something. So yeah, and then I'm not entirely sure what the rest of the day is going to bring. At the moment, it's a little bit more sort of overcast and grey. I suspect it's meant to get pretty warm again, because it was probably up to like mid-30s yesterday, while I managed to get a decent bit of gardening done whilst Louis was napping. This British car can't drive. Yeah, I managed to get a decent bit of stuff done in the garden while Louis was napping yesterday afternoon. So, who knows? I've got a little bit of work I need to do, a couple of check-ins to do at some point today, and then maybe, I was going to say chill out. Absolutely impossible. Chilling out is not an option as a full-time working parent, but we might get a walk in somewhere if it's not too hot this afternoon, or take Louis to a little park or something just to let him have a little bit of a run around, burn some energy. We're just being a little bit cautious with him, because he did pick up a bit of a cough middle of last week. I had to go and pick him up early on Thursday, I think it was, because he had a fever. And then, yeah, that sort of developed into a little bit of a cough and a little bit of a runny nose. So we don't want to overdo him and just completely burn him out. So we'll see how he is, because he is getting quite tired quite quickly at the moment. I think the combination, obviously, of not feeling great, of the heat, all of those things are standard kid stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to make sure that he's not he's not too bad. So anyway, I'm just pulling up at home now. And I think everyone will probably be awake because it's just after 7. So let's go and see. Good afternoon. I nearly said good morning. It is already the afternoon and it has been a manic one. I can't remember whether I mentioned on yesterday's video. I don't think I did actually, because we didn't know at the time. Our childminder, unfortunately, is not very well. So she's not been able to look after Louis today or tomorrow. And we're just very much hoping that she feels better by Wednesday, because at the moment, Lara and I are having to tag team. Lara's mum's come to help watch him for a little bit this morning, but she's not available tomorrow. He's currently down for his nap. So I'm just managing to get out for a short walk whilst I'm about to jump on a call. Whew, it's been one of them. It's basically just meant that Lara took the first work shift. So she had a call at 8 o'clock this morning. I had to delay my start to work, managed to get a few hours done. And then, it's just been one of those. And again, parents will appreciate just how tough that can be at times. You know, you sort of can't really plan and prepare for these kind of situations either, like they are what they are. Childminder absolutely won't have wanted to send us the message yesterday to say that she's not well and she can't watch him, but that is the situation. You know, she needs to feel good herself. And if she's not feeling too great, obviously it'd be hard for her to look after 3. There would only be 2 of them this week actually, because the other one's on holiday. But yeah, there we go. Life with kids, hey, it's a lot of fun, but thankfully, I am still trying to be as prepared as possible. I'm still managing to get to the gym nice and early as usual. Got a little bit of meal prep done yesterday, which actually is an interesting one, because I had someone message me off the back of a post I'd shared yesterday, where I was talking about how tough it was at the moment. Louis very much terrible twosing, childminder not being well, life just being pretty full on. And someone off the back of that said, so I assume you were still at the gym at 5 this morning. I assume all your meal prep's done, just like you said would be possible for parents before you came on yourself. Said, yeah, actually. I was actually up at the gym at 4:45 yesterday morning. I got a load of meal prep done while Louis napped yesterday. So yes, it is very much possible. You just have to be a little bit organised and make sure that you do what needs to be done. Has today been easy? No, but it's made a damn sight easier by the fact that I was at the gym early. So I was at the gym at 4:30 this morning. And as I say, the fact that I got a decent bit of meal prep done yesterday means that I'm not chasing my tail trying to do that as well. So it is very much possible. No, it's not always easy, but the more prepared, the more you plan, the more you get ready in advance, life becomes significantly easier. So there we have it. It's going to be a similar situation tomorrow. So I'll be back at the gym at probably 4:30 tomorrow. Lara was due to be in the office, but I think she's going to rearrange and probably stay at home, work from home tomorrow, just because it's very difficult when it's just one of us at home having to try and manage, because it would just mean I would basically not be able to get any work done until Louis goes down for his afternoon nap. And it's just not really possible to do that. So between us, we'll figure that out tomorrow. And then we are just waiting on a bit of news from the childminder, which we're hoping is positive. We're hoping that she feels better. That's the main thing. We want her to feel good. And obviously her feeling good has the knock-on benefit that Louis will be able to go and spend some time there. So fingers crossed it's going to be good news when we hear. But I hope everyone's well. I think we're also in the midst of the heat wave again. It's pretty warm, so try and make the most of this sunshine. Jump on this webinar, kill a couple of birds with the one stone, and then get back to it whilst Louis is asleep. There we have back and hamstrings done. Ooh, another tough one. That's what it's all about. Oh no, I've dropped everything on the floor. Oh. Got to make them challenging, otherwise it's not worth going. Oh man, a few early mornings taking their toll, catching up. But today's going to be another little tricky one. Thankfully, the childminder did get in touch to say that she will be able to take Louis on a Wednesday. So it is only today that Lara and I need to manage that situation a little bit carefully again. I think we're going to swap around a little bit as to who takes which shift today. So yesterday, Lara got some work done first because she had a couple of early calls, and then I got some work done after that. I think today I'm going to do my work first, and then I'll swap with her after a couple of hours. It is tough to manage. And, you know, it's one of those situations that we have said we are very grateful that it doesn't happen often at all. You know, it's very rare, actually really quite rare, that Louis is like properly sick, and certainly properly sick enough that he can't even go to the childminders. So we do count our blessings a little bit for that. It's also extremely rare that the childminder's sick. You know, she... considering she is around children that are subject to getting sick, she does very, very well to avoid it. So, yeah, we're just having to manage it. It is what it is. But general update, my weight has been stable. Pretty much my average weight from last week to this week is basically the same. A few different sort of ups and downs across the week, but largely the same. Still looking good, still feeling good. I have sent my check-in across to Christian, so I will pop the pictures up so you can have a little look at those. I will just do a final little update for this video once Christian's got back to me. I think I'd seen that he had flown to Ibiza yesterday. He'd been in Portugal over the weekend because he had a client on stage. And then I think I'd seen he just got to the airport and decided he was going to fly to Ibiza. And why not? So I'd imagine my check-in is going to be coming from the White Isle, which is very nice indeed. I wouldn't be surprised if some more food goes in, just considering my weight has been stable week to week. The food is in a fairly good place. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another sort of 50 gram carb bump. That is generally how we're doing things. That will take me up towards 500 grams of carbs on my training days. And just over 400 on my non, and then that'll be up to about 3,000 calories on my training days, and probably around about the sort of 2.7 to 8 on my non-training days. So food is soaking up. It's a really cool thing. I think this is another thing that people just don't really appreciate. I think the longevity of this fitness thing. You know, people want the results yesterday. People want to be eating 3,000 calories, you know, because they've been in the gym for 2 months. Like, this for me is, you know, it's taken me years and years and years of building enough muscle on my frame, learning how to train the right way, doing the right things. It's taken a long time for me to get to the point where I can be eating 3,000 calories and it's effectively, you know, not far off my maintenance level calories. It doesn't happen overnight, you know. As much as I might have liked it to, as much as I might have, you know, relished eating 3,000 calories at the very start of my journey, and, you know, not gaining any weight and all of the stuff that comes with that, it just isn't like that. You know, you need to go through the cycles of building enough muscle, getting lean again, building more muscle, getting lean again. Like, you absolutely have to, and that is a process that takes years to be, you know, to be honest. It's not, you know, you're not going to be growing for 6 weeks and then cutting for 6 weeks. Like, you're just going to make no progress that way. You really do need to be thinking much longer term. You know, phases of growth need to be, my last phase of growth, really, it was since I started working with Christian 3.5 years ago. You know, I'd just taken myself through my own shoot prep. That was the last shoot I did. Started working with Christian very soon after that. And essentially we went into growth mode from that moment. You know, I was lean enough because I was just coming off the back of a photo shoot, straight into growth mode. And yes, like, that 3.5 years has been broken down into little phases. And, you know, we've pushed up for sort of 9, 12 months and then pulled things back a bit, and then pushed up for another 9, 12 months and pulled things back a little bit. There's been stuff going on in that. There's been a couple of periods of maintenance in there where we had Louis and stuff. So, but it is 3.5 years of growing to get to this point. So please, please, please don't underestimate how long you will need to be able to properly grow, like to grow the right way, to grow enough muscle. You need to allow a long time, and you need to be thinking about, those cycles of growing for a good length of time, stripping all of that body fat back, growing for another good length of time, stripping all that body fat back. When you get your head into that mode, and when you wrap your head around the fact that it isn't going to happen overnight, you're going to make so much more progress. So please don't underestimate just how important that is, because it really will make a huge difference to how much progress you actually make, and you stop going around in circles and you really move things forward. So keep that in mind. And if you need any help, give me a shout. What is good? So, as I said, I would give you the last little update following Christian's check-in reply. Check-in reply has come back, and as I also said, I was expecting a little bit of a food bump, and he's done exactly what I thought he would. So 50 grams of carbs bumped on both days, which means 500 grams of carbs on my training days, 425 carb on my non-training days, around about 3,000 calories on my training days, and around about 2.728 on my non-training days. So those are the adjustments this week. Obviously, we'll see what happens next week. We're about to embark upon yet another heat wave, so let's see how that goes. But I will catch you guys in the next one, and if you watch to the end of this video, comment microphone, just so that I know you've been watching. Like it, subscribe it, do all the good stuff as usual, share it with the people that need to know, and I will see you very, very soon.